Hello, it's me again. My netbook was on its last legs, so I'm redoing this. Unfortunately, it was supposed to have been redone a few days ago, but I was unable to get a replacement computer until recently. So, we're going to discuss erotic fiction versus gay erotic fiction, my favorite topic in the entire world. Erotic fiction is defined as a genre of literature that includes sexually explicit details as the primary feature, meaning instead of 2 pages of kiss and tell, you get 10 pages of kiss and probably everything else in between. Unlike pornography, erotica does not aim exclusively at the sexual arousal. It's not like in a, in a porn movie or even a porn novel where the pizza man knocks on the door, opens the door, and within 10 seconds they're having sex. No. Erotica is more about our hero coming in and just making it a very hedonistic experience. I'm using big words. It's I think that erotic fiction in general is very hedonistic. It's very sense oriented. It really, depending on the novel, can draw you in. Um, Gay erotic fiction is basically the same thing, except you're dealing with two men, two women, somebody who can be transgendered, a bisexual. It just kind of adds a little more spice to how you're going to work out the story. Let's see. If you get a chance to go through my PowerPoint, which I'm including in this, I was unable to set it up so you could see my PowerPoint as I could talk. As I talk, I mean. There are two book covers. The first one is titled Hawk's Landing, and it was written by a wonderful mom of two. Her name is Carol Lynn. Without giving away the actual... Oh, it was a stretch for Carol. This is the first time since she started writing that she took on a transgender character. And she really struggled with finding this character's place in the world and the love of her life. The second book is Gypsy Heart, which was written by a really good friend of mine, and probably the one person in this world I can honestly say is truly a mentor to me, AJ Llewellyn. He is very openly gay and very happily committed to another wonderful writer that I enjoy reading a lot. But he also has a real love and passion for his readers. He goes out on a limb in a lot of cases to really connect with his readers, which you don't find with like J.R. Ward or J.K. Rowling. She tries, but I mean, a New York Times bestseller author, these guys are never going to be. Gypsy Heart is about two male lovers after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The story is the story is historically accurate in the sense that the actual bombing and the aftermath in Hawaii is real. The characters are the only thing truly made up in it. Some interesting facts that I'd like to share with you. Did you know that statistically more women read gay erotic fiction novels than even gay men? That surprised me. I have been at this for about 4 or 5 years now, and I was actually stunned to find this little niche of genre, and it was tickled to find out that it existed. And you can actually go to Borders and some other bookstores, and they actually carry some of these writers in paperback. It's not just ebooks. But yeah, I was really surprised to find out that women are the primary buyers of these books. Gay men are just actually still learning that they're coming out there. Also, there are more straight writers for gay erotic fiction and MM fiction than there are gay male writers. and I'm going to reiterate this so many different times. Erotica does not mean porn. The differences between romance and erotica is simply wording. In romance, the wording is simple, clean cut, and fanciful. In erotica, it's just more gritty and real and dirty. It's this sex tends to be more fun and a lot less vanilla. Some more interesting facts. Romance, again, isn't porn. It may be very erotic and have a minimal storyline, which actually the authors I read, that's never true. The storyline is fantastic. But porn is different. Porn has no storyline. It is strictly sex with very pretensions of being anything else. It has no real redeeming qualities. Frequently, it's between partners that aren't even really interested in each other, much less turned on by the sex itself. In plot, what plot? Erotic in erotica, the partners are at least enthusiastic about the roles they are playing. That was a direct quote from a friend of mine named Kia. She is a writer. She writes everything. Actually, she writes across the board. There isn't a genre this woman does not touch. She's hysterically funny. I read romance and erotica as well as yaoi. Yaoi is basically the Japanese equivalent of manga and anime. Most people are familiar with that. Some really good examples of what at least the drawing styling is if you ever watched Thundercats or Bleach, anything that is considered anime. Yaoi is just the gay equivalent of erotic fiction. What I read ranges from very graphic to a sweet kiss at the end of the story, from very graphic to a sweet kiss at the end of the story. I read it because I like real men who are confused, vulnerable, and looking for something important. There is an important depth to these characters that is missing in conventional romance, where the men are strong, silent type. Not my type. In these kinds of books, it's about getting the happily ever after. This was an interesting quote from, again, my friend Kia. Unlike traditional romances where the only question is how do we get the two destined lovers together, in romance, getting the lovers together is only half of the problem. They may be in love, but still have multiple obstacles to overcome. Will one or both of the lovers be able to face their feelings head on? Will they find themselves in a situation where they won't be able to be true to themselves, much less each other? Will they have their happily ever after, or HEA? Or will they and the readers have to settle for a happy for now, HFN? Trying to keep you up with the lingo. In closing, I want you to read, if you want to read something that is beautiful, different, and just stunningly breathtaking, ask me about some of my favorite writers. I have got tons of them. I gush frequently and openly. Remember, everyone deserves a happily ever after, and sometimes the best ones are the ones worked the hardest for. The main point of my report is to clear up the misconception that all erotica is porn. It isn't. But I will say that sometimes the definition of what erotica and what porn is simply is based on your own definitions. But for all intents and purposes, the definitions simply are different. Porn is no substance, where erotica is substance but dirty, I guess. And this is the best way I think I could put it. The traditional romance is that romance. It's about love and finding happiness. Wherein erotica, it's getting you happily ever after and working your butt off to get there. Lastly, I believe that gay erotic fiction is the best kept secret of all the writing world. However, some secrets need to be let out, and this is what I want to scream from the rooftops. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that you guys get a chance to see the new one. And really, I think going over my PowerPoint would be a good idea because there's two book covers on there that I want you to see that I was unable to show you. Sorry. That I think will really turn your heads because it proves you really can't tell the difference by just looking at a cover of the book. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed getting it.